Not one, but 2 patches have just dropped for Build 42 Unstable, and there is a huge amount of changes, fixes, and new additions, with almost 700 lines of new stuff. So today, I'm going to run through some of the most important and notable things. First up is players who are subscribed to Awpenheimer will receive increased luck. Sounds like a good deal. Alright, starting off with Build 42.1 and the new additions it brings. Kicking it off with a huge one, the new shooting system. Added firearm chance to damage sandbox option, an experimental new method to calculate firearm hits, now based on the chance to damage. It is defaulted to be on, but the previous method remains available in sandbox. The previous system was called chance to hit, and with each shot you had the chance to hit or miss. But with the new system, chance to damage, each successfully aimed shot hits. The previous chance to hit calculation then determines if damage is doubt. This change aims to eliminate the frustration of missed shots and attempts to make every ranged attack feel more rewarding. I'd say it definitely feels more rewarding in that every shot you take actually hits and makes the zombie flinch, which does help out. But it does make zombies feel like they're eating more bullets. I haven't played around with it too much, but from what I have played, I do quite like it. But one change I'm not sure of is successful shotgun hits now grant aiming XP once per shot, rather than for each pellet that hits, which means that shotguns won't be amazing for leveling up your aiming. They'll be just as effective as any other firearm. Let me know what you think of that one in the comments. But real quick, if you want to read through all of these patch notes, they'll be in the description. Alright, on to some of the other new things. Added Purify Water recipe. It uses water purification tablets to purify up to 1 litre of tainted water. Added blacksmithing recipes for small iron bands, mace heads, spiked clubs, spearheads, and long spearheads. Added can pipe. Added recipe for carving planks from a large branch. Added missing items and craft recipes for flax, spinach, sunflower, and tobacco seed packets. Added recipe for forging a handguard dagger. Added a sandbox setting discomfort modifier that, similar to the muscle strain factor, can be used to disable, reduce, or increase the discomfort effect provided by clothing items that provide discomfort. So now you can wear that full suit of armor without it being too uncomfortable. Added recipe for making twine using dogbane. Added craft recipe for carving short bats, which is needed for spiked club and mace crafting. Added craft recipe for splitting circular saw blades into halves, used for crafting some weapons. Added missing blacksmithing craft recipe for forging buckles. Added craft recipes for forging spiked baseball bats and cudgels. Added recipes for turning an iron band into 4 small iron bands. Added a recipe for fixing saws and saw blades with a file. Added a craft recipe to get long sticks from brooms and mops. Added a carved wooden bucket item. And added a bundled sterilized rag item, which can be bundled and unbundled through recipes. We have updated moodles, and while I still prefer the old ones, I think these new ones are definitely better than they were. Updated sounds, footstep sweeteners when walking over garbage on the floor, added sounds for animals breaking down fences, log gates, grabbing eggs from hutch, milking animals, added open beer bottle sound, microwave and oven UIs play the toggle temp sound when setting temperature, the oven UI on and off button plays the toggle stove sound. All the little sounds definitely make it more immersive. Now moving on to the balance section, where they have removed death by tree, scratches no longer bleed, erroneous lacerations taken out. So now walking through the forest is a lot less deadly. Zombies climbing through windows now become visible when their head is visible. Doubled maintenance XP gain. Now that's a huge one because it felt very slow previously. Another thing that felt slow was boiling water, but luckily, boiling water is now 10 times faster. Previously, survivalist safe house stories would have better loot after 30 days have passed since the apocalypse. This has been changed to 10 days. Late stage loot now appears in safe houses and on survivalist zombies after 90 days, not 180. Safe houses will now spawn skill books, recipes, and firearms/ammunition more reliably. I like that. Halved the muscle strain gain from being over encumbered. This only occurs when a character is encumbered enough to also take health damage from their encumbrance. Items with sharpness will now lose sharpness at half the rate they did previously. If it is too dark to read but the character is inside a vehicle, it will be possible to read as long as the vehicle's battery has charge. That's nice, we got a little car light, that'll come in handy. Balanced sharpness reduction when chopping down trees. Bumped nutrition values on animal meat when butchering. Reduced fatigue change for cola and soda fluids from 5 to 2. So basically soda's no longer a crazy concoction that will give you unlimited energy. Empty beer, pop, and tin cans can be used to boil water. Lowered the amount of zombies in the forest by 5%. Re-enable disinfect bandage using hot water. Added tooltip to inform it needs to be very hot. Both the handy trait and the repairman profession grant 1 level in the carving skill. Added the vehicle script field special loot chance. That, if defined, will set the percent chance of a vehicle having special loot, if their special loot is properly defined. The camouflage trucks have a 16% chance of having special loot instead of 8% chance. The mural vans now have a special loot chance of 80%, so they should generally have more memorable loot than average. The hand knife item and pocket watches can both be put in a keyring. They made the camouflage trucks spawn more consistent. Foraging clay will spawn 2 to 4 items instead of just 1. Characters with the carpenter, construction worker and lumberjack profession start the game with 1 level of maintenance. And the construction worker profession provides a +3 bonus to the masonry skill. They changed the maximum fuel limit for campfires, fireplaces and wood barbecues from 6 to 8 hours. Bandit outfit zombies with bags will sometimes have armor and weapon recipe magazines and schematics in those bags, but not always. Survivalist outfit zombie bags should contain more skill books in tiers 1 to 3. Previously they only could spawn tier 4 and 5 skill books. They have adjusted the sheet sling bag capacity from 12 to 10 from feedback. Rope belts that a character crafts should only provide 1 left hotbar slot. Adjusted the code for chopping down trees so more large branches and saplings will spawn. They modified the tree chopping code to be more generous, scaling by tree size, impossibly dropping branches and saplings. They also drop splinters so you will always get tinder. Characters with the veteran occupation / desensitized trait should be completely immune to panic. Pickup trucks, pickup van trucks and cargo vans, but not passenger vans, will have a 40% chance of having special loot instead of default loot as they are working vehicles. Step vans now have an 80% chance of having special loot. Special vehicle loot includes a lot of crafting, skill and recipe resources. Double barrel shotguns can spawn as farm storage clutter. I brought that up a lot when I was doing a run in Echo Creek. You would fully expect a lot more firearms out there. Improvements to thirst normalization. Tweak distributions to address recipe, magazine, skillbook issues, as well as some items missing from the tables. Some adjustment nerfs to the ratchet wrench and tire iron durability values. Short revolvers can sometimes spawn in purses and handbags. More opportunities for whetstone and masonry chisels to spawn. Butter now requires 5 litres of milk instead of 0.5 litres. Players with the speed demon trait will sometimes, very rarely, 1% of the time, spawn with a speeding ticket in their inventory. Now that's a cool little bit of storytelling. Shiv weapons all require no more than 1 maintenance to craft. Rebalance the durability of the multi-tool and handy knife items. They were too fragile previously. Old generator item is now significantly louder than the good / normal generators. The cheap blue value tech generator is also louder than good / normal generators, but not as loud as the old one. Both kinds of generators already degrade at a faster rate than the good generators. The premium brand one also degrades slower. The flint nodule and stone weapons are no longer short blunt. They aren't a skill associated weapon anymore, and no weapon skills provide any benefit when using them. So basically the stone is no longer OP. But hey, it's still a renewably sourced weapon that you can use as a last resort. The stone weapon was given the same pushback mod and lower damage values as the flint nodule weapon. Both stone and flint nodule have a greater chance of being damaged when used for an attack. Both stone and flint nodule should now drain approximately twice as much as endurance as previously, and produce approximately twice as much muscle strain in the code. A cool little one is that if a character has line of sight to a television and has a TV remote equipped in one of their hands, they can perform appropriate interactions such as on or off or changing the volume from a distance instead of having to be adjacent to or walk to the TV. That's pretty cool. Added condition bars to some items. Made crafting a wooden toolbox slightly more relaxed regarding the ingredients requirement. Ice hockey sticks can be carved into long sticks. The survivor, zombie and mob that spawn on roads will spawn in a more diffuse crowd than the tight little group they did previously. Boosted the XP gain for several leather and hide crafting craft, and some tweaks to the bookstore loot. Alright, well there was quite a lot in that section, but the fixes section is even longer. But don't worry, I've cut it down significantly. They have fixed the black screen at the start of the game and after click to start on some AMD GPUs. Now the people affected by this are going to be very happy with that. Fixed character not always attacking a closer Z, even with multi-hit on. Fixed 3D items sometimes becoming gigantic on use for a split second. I was getting that a lot. Fixed drainable items losing uses after saving and loading. Definitely a needed fix that. Batteries were leaking everywhere. Fixed boiling water not considering game speed. Fixed walk 2 resetting the game speed to 1. Now that's a good fix, that was getting quite annoying. Fixed not being able to boil water in saucepans. Fixed butchering animal inside a container, not removing it. Fixed the player being able to exercise while sitting on furniture. Yeah, that was pretty cracked. Fixed Zeds playing the wrong animation when shoved down. Fixed missing maintenance skill books. Now a huge one that people will enjoy is fixed generators not powering things below ground or above level 8. So that nuclear bunker becomes viable. So does the penthouse in the skyscrapers. Fixed character's model curls up when shooting at sitting Zeds with M16. Yeah, that was a weird little animation. Fixed character starting to aim down before Zeds fall down. Fixed skeleton corpses becoming meaty when dragged. Fixed animal health inside hutch being updated too often compared to not in a hutch. Fixed and added some roads in the in-game map. Fixed some special loot vehicles not having trunk loot. Fixed the thirst values for soft drink soda type beverages being wildly out of scale with any other beverage. Fixed not being able to put generators on empty car seats. I thought that was an issue with a mod I had, but I guess not. But yeah, I'm glad that's fixed. And they also fixed forge buckets not being cookable. Onto the final little section, the crafting and building UI. And all of this is a work in progress. They made fixes to missing icons, searchability and categories, plus scalability of the panels and buttons. They made the crafting panel smaller and scale with the font size to remove the white space and improve responsiveness of craft panels. And there was a bunch of items renamed. Alright, I went on quite a bit there, but I wanted to include as many as I could without dragging it out too much. But as I said, then dropped not 1, but 2 patches. The next one's much smaller, so I'll run through that. Build 42.1.1. Sheet curtains attached to animated doors are now rendered in 3D, attached to the animated doors. Added a craft recipe for sawing a plank from large branch. Added masonry business vehicles, so more masonry chisels spawn. Added craft supply business vehicles, so more clay spawns. Added florist business vehicles because we have pretty flowers. Holly trees can sometimes drop holly berries when chopped down. Added wooden spade item and carving recipe. And added a recipe for crafting the Molotov. Hell yeah, we needed that. Onto the balances, they adjusted how trees are evaluated based on their tile definition properties to determine their size and whether they yield logs. A distinction was introduced within the smallest class of trees, differentiating between really small and small trees. The really small trees will now drop 1 log and a sapling. Bigger trees drop more logs. Revised tree health calculations to account for changes in log yield. Note, players with existing save games will need to travel to unexplored areas for the small, but not really small trees to drop logs when chopped down. Adjusted weight of the broken branch item from 2 to 1.5. Large enough pine trees can sometimes drop pine cones when chopped down, and large enough oak trees can sometimes drop acorns when chopped down. Onto the final section of fixes. They fix some broken animations when holding one-handed knives, although they are aware there are still issues with over-twisting animations, and it will fix it soon. It made fixes to crafting recipes producing the wrong items, missing craft recipes being re-added, fixed line of sight issues in negative world coordinates, fixed alarm clocks not waking up players in basements, limit the number of dung and feathers that can spawn according to the animal's zone size, and fixes to issues when teleporting in a vehicle. Alright, well I kind of just rattled through all of these, but I didn't want to make the video super long, and with the patch notes being crazy long, I just wanted to condense it all down into a more manageable size, while still trying to keep most of the cool stuff. But if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great time playing build 42.1.1, and I've got some great videos in the works, so keep your eyes peeled. Have a great day, and peace.